Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, it's the third week of August, and it's a hot day, but not too hot because it's raining out. You might wonder why I'm not fishing today. Well, there's two real good reasons. Number one, there's a big thunderstorm right out here, and my grandfather was killed by lightning, and I have a phobia against it. I can't stand lightning. I just heard some just a second ago, and it's starting to rain. That's one reason. The second reason why I'm not fishing today is that I've just had hernia surgery. I've just had robotic surgery, and this is so incredible. Just 2 days ago, I had surgery about 30 years ago or so, a hernia deal, and it was way hard to recover, and it was a big ordeal. But this is kind of a not so bad a deal. In fact, I have three little holes. It's not hard to see, but three little bitty holes in my abdomen. They went with robotics. It's like they're flying a drone. The doctor sits there, and he has his robotics going in your abdomen looking around. Now they pump it up a little bit with carbon dioxide to get everything kind of, and they have lights in there, and now they can see all the stuff that's wrong. In this case, I had some torn abdomen areas so for the hernia, okay, and they fixed it with a screen. Anyway, I'm all recuperating from that, and they say I'm supposed to get up and walk around a little bit. This is the first real strenuous thing I've done all day. I can't lift but a couple pounds, five or 10 pounds of weight. So I've been kind of fooling with turkey calls. I've been fooling with some of this stuff for the boat, getting it all ready. And there's two or three things I've just been fooling with the last couple of days. And I'll start with first of all, you know that I like to turkey hunt. And so this is a good opportunity for me to get caught up. And I don't know if you realize this, but I make a custom turkey call that's registered. I have the registration right here, and I have all these numbers and people's numbers and names in there. And as I make these calls, it's quite a big deal. This isn't any kind of little bitty process. As I make these calls, I make them out of different woods. This happens to be a real rare West African wood called black limba, and that's been an exquisite call. I also make them out of butternut, but I also make the lid is acacia, and it's from the backyard. In fact, there's acacia tree right over there. There's another one right over there. And in the last hurricane, a bunch of it blew down, and I have this kiln. I dry the wood in the kiln for about 5 years, and I got wood piled up all over the place. And I make my own lids, and I have a wood shop to do all that. Okay. Now, also, when I make this call, you have to understand that this is a big deal. I autograph it. I put the guy's name on it. I have a registration number. It's all registered a certain way. And this particular call is a Neil Cost replica. Now, Neil Cost was the most famous guy in the whole world making calls. And I knew him 30 years ago. He passed away about 25 years ago. But the point was, he helped me with making the calls. And I didn't do very good 30 years ago. I made a few calls, but I didn't do good. I have only done good these last 2 or 3 years. Now I've made about 500. In fact, this number right here is 333 out of 500, but then I made about another 100 before I ever started numbering them. So I've made about 500 of these calls. Now this is black limba. I just want you to listen to this for a second because this is exquisite. That's a good sounding call. I don't know if you know anything about turkey calls, but wood has a different tone. And so to make it lower pitch, for example, I don't know if this one here, so let me get you another call. This one here is a regular butternut. This is regular butternut. That's about the same. But anyway, I tune them a special way. I tune them by getting different lids of different sizes and different lengths and different widths, and then I tune them by shaving the side thinner or thicker or deeper, and then there's all kind of ways to do it. But 30 years ago when I first started, I didn't know how to tune a call. Now I can tune one. I tune it just to the right thing. I have these Neil Cost calls I tune to. So that's been a really big deal. And I've been doing that a lot these last couple of days. Okay. First project. A second project is, Jerry and I went out to that little lake last week, and we were fishing these big swimbaits and stuff, and we were doing stuff for Spike It. We used that new sonic coat, the sonic coat on the lures, and you could see it better on the active target. Well, one of the problems we had was lining up the active target. I want to explain this. This active target has a mode when you put this trolling motor down in the water. I can't see it there. when you put this trolling motor down in the water, this active target right height thing here is right here, and look, I can adjust it by hitting that button right here. See how it turns? So the trolling motor, for example, and how this all works, is the trolling motor will be headed straight, but I can now take the active target module, the actual transducer, and now I can turn it with the right height system that I have on this. I can now turn it to wherever I see the fish, wherever I see the brush pile. And then we got this new deal where we record everything on a chip. There's actually a recording now that we can do on this this Lowrance active target, the HCS. There's a little chip that we put in here, a little MMC chip, and we can now record. I can't really, I don't have a chip in there right now. I can put the record on and record the actual deal. But it's harder than you realize. It's harder to get this thing all perfected because you get interference with the unit. Electrical interference kind of comes across the screen. So I've been working all week trying to eliminate electrical interference. And here's what I've come up with. And I've talked to a lot of good guys about it. They're taking, here's the answer for eliminating some of the electrical interference. The module that thing runs on runs all the way up to, you can run it all the way up to 30 volts. It runs now off the boat battery, but the problem with running it off the boat battery is there's trolling motors on the boat battery, there's live wells on the boat battery, there's all kinds of different things that run off the boat battery, the power poles themselves, and so all this causes interference. So I want to eliminate interference. So the best thing is to have your own independent battery. Okay, the best battery to use, since the module will take anything over 12 volt, is a 20 volt. Here, now look, you can now take a DeWitt power tool. This is a regular power tool battery, okay? I can now take this battery, put it in this little holder that I buy off the internet for just a few dollars. Now it fits in there. Now these two wires, and there's even an off and on switch right here. I now hook this up to the module. That's now a hot wire. I hook up to the module, and I have bigger batteries coming. They're going to be like 12 amp instead of this 2 amp thing. But anyway, so that's eliminating interference. That's the first thing. So when I use the sonic coat, like we were talking about this last time, I'll have a better signal. I won't have a bunch of jumble and jamble on the thing. It's going to be just a lot better deal. Okay, now filming is my game. You know that I film a lot. So I use a lot of times I'll run a GoPro camera, just kind of little, if you want to do your own GoPro and here's something to think about. We're in hot weather here in Florida. And so when I set these cameras up, I might have them on a deal like this. I might have them up here like this. I'm just going to experiment, just show you what I'm doing. Now I'll tighten this up, for example, and now that camera, I can now adjust it. If you see that back of that camera, you can see that, okay, it's on my thing. But that gets hot. That camera gets hot. So I've come up with a couple different solutions. Roland Martin ingenious thing number one. This is an old fan I've taken apart off of a hat fan. Look at this when I turn it on. I'm going to turn it on right now. The light comes on. Watch this. Turn this thing on. Turn the light thing, and a little switch comes on. See this? I got air coming out. I can take the air, and I can put this on there, for example, like this. If I need to get the thing cooler, now I can let that thing run like this, and the fan's cooling this thing down, and it's not cool. It'll run all day. Also, I'll have a sound system on this thing, and the sound system will be going into my microphone, so the little bit of sound that you hear off this fan is not going to be noticed. I can turn it way down where you can't hear it. Hear that? I have a little rheostat. This is all stuff I came up with. The rheostat, I can turn it up way high, kind of hear that, but then I turn it down real low. Anyway, I've been working on all kind of stuff like that. That's now that I'm kind of out of commission and can't fish for about a week, I'm going to get everything fixed. Speaking of fixing stuff, I tell you can't beat a super glue. I always tell people the two most important things that you have in your pocket are super glue and a pocket knife. Okay? I got my pocket knife and I can do whatever I want, trim a rod, trim a lure, do any kind of thing I want to do. But super glue is such a big deal. One of the main things that you have with the super glue is that these guides have agate guides or some type of an insert guide that are constantly coming loose. And so it's a good practice. And here's just a tip that I use all the time. Let me just get this thing out. I'll take the super glue like this. It's just a real good idea to take all your rods now, and put a dab of super glue. I'm going to put the glasses on so I can see better. That's the only problem with getting old. You need glasses and hearing aids and every kind of thing. Okay, put a little teeny bit of super glue right here. Kind of come close, I'll show you. I'll put a little bit of super glue right there on that guide. Now I'll go around the guide, and I'll do all the guides that way. And that will really help because it holds that in place better. Now, I've done that already. I've done that to all my rods, but what that does, it eliminates those guides falling out. And it's just the biggest thing in the world. I can show you any of these rods that I've been using, and if I hadn't done the rods, I'm going to find a rod here probably with a guide out. If I look close enough, yeah, here's one with the guide out. Right here. There's one. No, anyway, I got rods with the guides out. And that's the problem. The super glue will really help for that. Also, super glue, I always tell you the story about Mel Tillis, the old country western singer. We were fishing together one time about 30 years ago on Lake Okeechobee. And it was a Sunday. And he had a concert. Mel had a country and western concert in West Palm Beach the next day. Actually that night, Sunday night. And about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we were fishing along. His front tooth falls out. The cap falls off, and it falls on the floor. His tooth says, "Oh my God, my tooth's fallen out." He says, "Roland, get me to a dentist." I said, "Mel, there's no dentist in Clewiston, Florida. It's impossible." So anyway, I said, "Let me do it with the super glue." So I pulled the super glue out, took his tooth, jammed it up, and had the concert. He called me about 2 weeks later. He said, "Everything worked out good." So that's super glue for you. Anyway, I've been busy doing other things. Also, I've been ordering a lot of other stuff. But one of the things that I'm really kind of working with right now, it's not a sponsor product, but some of these different swim baits. There's about 20 of them on the market. But I like this 3 and 4 and even 5-inch swim bait size, particularly at headwaters, particularly on Okeechobee. And I'm coupling that up with about either a 1/16 of an ounce or even an 1/8 of an ounce jig head for working the shallow water. If I want to work a little deeper, I'll go a little heavier. But in the shallow, weedy water, I'll stay, as I say, the 1/8 ounce. And one of the hooks that I use a lot of times, I'll use that belly hook. It has that belly weight on it, and it has the screw-in attachment up front. And on all these, the Big Easy series and all sorts of the different series swim baits, I use that screw-in weight, the screw-in system, and the belly weight hook. That's been a good one, a good Gamakatsu hook in the process. So I'm kind of out of commission right now. I can't fish for the next couple of weeks, but I'm getting all sorts of stuff done, all sorts of stuff fixed, and we're ready to go and getting ready for the upcoming season. It's going to be a good one, son. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting me. And I tell you, O'Reilly's goes crazy and all the different people. You know, the Spike It people are wonderful. Frog Talks, oh my gosh. Bass, for all my wonderful people, just appreciate you hitting that likes button. And I do too. So thank you, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.